Perfect. Hi, welcome to Child Care Unplugged, hosted by me, Chantel Pettengill. I'm creating this podcast to help parents with any questions they may have about parenting, daycare, or anything about child development. We'll talk about topics such as potty training, positive discipline, how to help with transitions, how to get your children to try new foods, fun activities spark learning and curiosity, and even self-care as a parent are just a small sample of topics we're going to cover. We'll also bring in guests to chat with us from time to time as well. I've been an early childhood educator now for 23 years. I promise I'm not that old though. In those 23 years, I did take 5 years and taught in both the social emotional classroom as well as ELL mathematics at the middle school level. I did start missing my younger students though, and decided that I wanted to go back to ECE. So I started my own childcare program, Pettengill Academy. We are in our 11th year of operating, and we actually just opened up our second location. I'm also a mom of 2, a daughter who is 13 and a son who is almost 12. At one point, I was a mom of 2 under 2, and let me tell you, that was a whole other experience on its own, but I experienced it. I've also spent my career teaching, but I've also spent it coaching youth sports, particularly softball. However, when your kids get old enough to start playing sports, you'll get that dreaded email that says that if we don't get more volunteers, we're not going to be able to have a program. And of course, I volunteered to coach soccer one year. That was interesting. It was my only year ever coaching soccer. My son this year decided to try to is playing middle school soccer for the first time, and he's loving it, which I am so happy for. I'm just never going to be his coach for soccer. I'm going to stick to baseball, softball. That's my specialty. So the idea behind this podcast is to give you tips, tricks, ideas to help you with raising your littles, but not take a lot of your time. We understand that being a parent today is busy and there are a lot of things that take your attention. So the episodes are not going to be any longer than 10 minutes. You can listen to it in the car while you're driving to work, in between appointments, while you're making supper, during your workout, right before you go to bed, any of those quick, quiet moments that you might have. If people find that they're finding the podcast helpful, we can make it a little longer, but I want to make sure that it's quick and easy for parents. I'm going to be coming to you twice a month to talk about topics that we get asked many times as a childcare provider. So every first and third Friday of the month, I will have a new episode for you. We'd love to hear from you too. So if you have any burning topics you want us to talk about, just leave them in the comments, either on YouTube or on our Facebook, and we'll get them into an episode for you. But we didn't want to just use this episode to introduce the podcast today, but also want to talk to you something a little bit more exciting. And we all know on the news, especially up here in Maine, for my people not in Maine, we're getting hit with a hurricane this weekend. Hurricane Lee is coming directly our way, and it's like the first time in 30 years that a hurricane has come our way. I think the last one I remember, I was like 6 or 7 years old, maybe 8. I was a kid myself. And so like Zach and I were going through, okay, what are the things we need to prep for? And we just went through the list. Like we were thinking, okay, groceries, what can we cook on the grill if we lose power, or on the wood stove if we have to try to cook an alternative way? I talked to my dad on the phone the other day, and he was in Home Depot buying new filters and chains for the chainsaws just in case trees come down, because they live out in the middle of the woods. And so, we're doing all this prepping, but then I thought, oh, what if we lose power? Like our idea was like, oh, we'll sit and we'll have a movie day with our kids and we'll do board games and things like that. But what if we lose power? We can't watch movies, and my kids are older, so it's a little bit easier to come up with some ideas. So I wanted to come with you with ideas that you can do with your littles to have in handy just in case we all lose power, and you have to keep them occupied indoors. So one of the things we love at school is we love to do dance parties. And it's a great way to get our wiggles out, or if we just need to like, oh, let's do this, let's dance it out. So Dance parties are great. Some of our favorite songs with our littles is they love going on a bear hunt. They love the freeze dance. Of course, Baby Shark is in there. And then Wheels on the Bus is always a classic. I would keep it short and limited just so that way you don't use too much of your battery. Make sure your battery packs are all charged. Mine are charging right here beside us currently. But dance parties are a good thing. Another thing that's always great is stock up on some books. If you go to the library or if you have some packed away, stock up on books that you can read together. Spend some time reading. Lay out blankets and pillows and stuffed animals. Make it comfy. Just relax together and read. For older children, you can put on puppet shows or shadow shows or even act the stories out. Those are some fun things to do. With it, I know my two, we're going to have them get their chapter books ready to read this weekend just in case. Another favorite that my 11-year-old still loves to this day is to build blanket forts and play in the blanket fort. You could do blocks in the blanket fort. You can do pretend play. You can just play and go in and out. You can read your books in the blanket fort. But that's still a favorite in our house, even with our older children. But littles love to do it too. Another thing you can do is set up an obstacle course. Use cushions, pillows, chairs, things they can crawl under, climb over, jump safely. Again, make sure everything stays safe. There's not a whole lot of stuff in the area, but obstacle courses are a great way to get some of that energy out. Set up some simple crafts. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. Like I was getting ready to be like, okay, let's make a list. Let's go to Hobby Lobby. Let's get all this stuff. But we have a bunch of stuff at our house already. You can set up finger painting, coloring with crayons, making collages with old newspapers or magazines, or cut things out, glue it on a piece of paper, tissue paper. We all have tissue paper hanging around probably from our holidays. Take that, cut it, have them glue that on a piece of paper. That's all some fun things you can do that are simple and easy. Another thing is sensory play. Is a fun idea. You can use water, fill your bathtub up a little bit, use some water, or you can use simple items such as sand, rice, and pasta, and just put simple toys. You just need a little container or bowl. You don't need a lot for it. Do some yoga and stretches together. You can look up simple poses online. We do this with our littles at school and they love it. Don't worry, they're not going to judge you. I love doing yoga when my kids were little. They don't judge you. They think it's awesome that you're doing it. And again, it gets some relaxation. It helps calm them down a little bit and also get some of their energy out too. You make some Play-Doh and play. There's a bunch of simple recipes online that you can use that uses stuff within your house. That is in your pantry. A lot of times it's flour and cream of tartar, and we all have some of that. It doesn't have to be, it can be expired. I know I have expired cream of tartar in my pantry right now. Use it to make Play-Doh. And that will keep them actually occupied for a pretty long time. And they'll be proud because they got to make it themselves. And it usually will last a while. Take it, put it in the fridge, and it'll last like 1 or 2 weeks without any issue. This one you'll have to run to the store before the storm hits, but you can get glow sticks and have a glow stick party once it starts getting dark. Play some music, dance around. They'll think it's cool. You can use flashlights too with something similar. Another thing you can do is have a picnic indoors for your mealtime. And of course, you bring your favorite stuffies if you're going to have a picnic indoors. Have a scavenger hunt with your littles. This can be as simple as a way to practice shapes, like find me something that's a circle, find me something that's a square, find me a cow if you have like the little people, things like that. Or if you have olders at home, make it more of a challenge with hints and riddles, or have them come up with the hints and riddles and then you have to go on the scavenger hunt. We do that a lot with our two littles. Or my two littles do that a lot with us. It's not usually our idea, it's theirs, which I love, and it's great in using their imagination. So those are just some simple ideas you can do this weekend. We hope everyone stays safe. And we can't wait to come out with episode 2 on October 6th. See you then. Bye, guys.